who is deaf, genderqueer, transmasculine, Chinese, and Jewish. He has given talks all over the country on the intersections of art, disability, queerness, race, and he has been inspiring us since he launched his YouTube channel back in May 2017. He has participated in numerous gallery shows and artist residencies internationally, worked as a columnist for Condé Nast's first queer publication, Them, launched a radically inclusive clothing line in collaboration with Opening Ceremony, signed as the first deaf and trans-masculine model with IMG Models, and was cast as a superhero within Warner Brothers' DC Universe Titans. Through Chella's work as a deaf genderqueer artist, author, and activist, he is a leading example of these values and creating solutions for social injustice around the world. Chella, I am so honored to award you with the Renaissance Awards Digital Creator Award. It is really affirming and uplifting, inspiring, so grounding, faith rejuvenating, and to see someone like you use what you have to further our future collectively. Eco Age will be foregoing the usual statuette and are thrilled to award you, Chella, with a one-of-a-kind NFT designed with and donated by strategic partner Method. This NFT award is the first in history and is a huge leap forward in technology. You've been so strong and you've been so open, Chella, and strong in showing vulnerability about the complexities of your identity and your transition journey. So I wanted to ask, why did you feel it was so important to share these very intimate moments in your life in such a transparent way?
That's a great question. I owe so much to social media and the internet, honestly. Growing up in a small town in central Pennsylvania, the way that I was able to find representation, because it wasn't tangible, was through the internet and through social media. So there were just rabbit holes that I would go down on my phone at night, exploring what it means to be trans, what it means to be disabled, what it means to be a person of color. And I could do all of this anonymously within the privacy of my own bedroom. And that was so beautiful because it was a tool that I could use at a time when I was not ready to be out so publicly. So when I finally was able to make all those connections and I felt comfortable enough and confident enough within myself to be able to share that with the world, I was like, how could I not? How could I not give back to the same communities that have helped me so much without seeing all of these different things online, even though most of these people have no idea, the impact that they're making because they don't see the effects because it's all virtual. I wanted to be able to have faith in the idea that it would be representation for someone, but then again, it was also representation for myself because, as you know, my identities are quite niche. So I wanted to see that, I wanted to see that represented. I wanted people who have the same identities as me to feel like they have a home, not in just many different communities, but in one place. It's possible. And to this day, actually, I've had the huge privilege and honor of meeting one person who has all the same identities as me, and they're 11 years old. Yeah, I never thought it would happen. They're 11 years old, and they live in New York, and I wouldn't have ever connected with them otherwise. So I'm just so grateful for the internet and the tools that it's allowed. So my answer is kind of, I guess, because I'm privileged enough to be able to do it comfortably and feel safe, how could I not?
That's so important, especially like for those of us who have experiences that are just really rare. Like trans people are a demographic in general that is already really rare, like in the population. And not only are we vulnerable, but we don't show up in many. And so then for someone who has those very unique intersections that you share with them, like I can imagine how much how affirmed they're going to feel, and that especially as they grow up and start to see and meet and connect with different people, they're going to know that there's a place for them in the world because you showed them that.
I was thinking about you when you were talking, like, so many people watching Pose and like watching your upcoming projects and everything. Like, you are that for so many people as well. If I had seen Pose when I was in elementary school, I would have connected the dots so much more quickly and probably found so much self-empowerment at a younger age. So, I mean, yeah, I appreciate you so much, and I'm so grateful for you. Just we're all out here doing it, and I'm just so excited.
I appreciate you so much.
Of course.
So I wanted to know about a little more about what inclusivity and accessibility means to you, especially as somebody who you won't see too much of yourself being included in many things. You are a first for so many of the spaces that you step into. So what does that mean to you, for accessibility and inclusivity to both be so interwoven in your experiences, and how important it is to have that? What does it mean to you?
What does it mean to me? That's such a general question. But for me, I think the answer is constantly evolving and changing because it's about balance. And balance means that there is this fluidity that always is happening. And at first, it meant not compromising my identity for anyone. And that meant fighting with so much fire, right? And so much energy, to a point where I realized I was actually so depleted and so exhausted. And sometimes it was getting change to happen, and sometimes that is the way to fight. But what I realized since is that it's more of a balance, inclusivity and accessibility. It's more of a balance, that sometimes you need to make compromises, and that was the hardest pill that I have ever had to swallow. But sometimes those compromises actually benefit you. So in some moments, if they're very small, I will just accept the situation at times for how it is to preserve my own energy. And then I have realized that's a form of self-care. So to me, inclusivity and accessibility is about not compromising your identity, but it's also about the balance between that and caring for yourself and understanding how much energy you have and at what times and when is the right time to use that energy and to educate. Because it's not always on you to educate. Sometimes you can take a break and you can breathe and you can just be. And that's what I've been learning recently about inclusivity and accessibility. But inevitably, it's always to striving towards that beautiful utopia of a place where we are all accepted, we are all seen for all of the different layers we have, we are all accommodated. But understanding that that takes time, and it depends on who's ready to hear it and so many other variables. But that's one aspect I feel like I could talk about for a long time.
What is your method of change?
There's so many different methods depending on the timeline of change, and also change in respect to who. So for me, I think change is about acceptance because it's always happening. There's never a moment that things are not changing. All the time. And I've had to just radically accept all change, even when it's change that I would not necessarily like to happen. But in terms of the outside world, I think it's a large part of the acceptance has been that things move slow, a lot slower than I wish they would. And it's ironic because I feel like we're in this day and age where we're being told that so much change is happening at a pace that it's never happened before because of like technological advancement and visibility of like various marginalized groups. But I'm still like, we're not there yet, you know? But then it goes back to our conversation before where I'm like, but we are in a way, because this is a moment, this moment right here, I feel so appreciated and understood and present. And the world that I'm striving towards exists in this moment. And I'm accepting that. And that's change that feels so good, you know? So it depends. I mean, my method of change is largely relative to acceptance.
Chella, I am so honored to award you with the Renaissance Awards Digital Creator Award. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm so honored that you're the one giving it to me. I feel like you are almost like a piece of me. We've had so many like intersecting experiences of our lives, and I feel like I'm talking to almost like a version of myself when I chat with you. So I'm just so grateful. This I'm so grateful for you and for everyone in, you know, the queer, disabled, BIPOC communities, for my family who are largely the reason that I believe I'm still sitting here. You know, I'm grateful for the kid that was inside of me growing up who persisted and could feel the inequities of the world and knew that he had to do something about it eventually. I think that his passion is largely what still fuels me to this day, leaning into that, being in touch with him, like the deepest part of myself. And I'm so grateful, of course, for Eco Age for recognizing me and also just deeming me worthy of such an award, and for allowing Indya and I to come together and have this cathartic chat. I will reflect on this moment. I will appreciate this moment. And I'm so happy it was recorded, and I'm glad that it will be available and accessible to anyone who wants to watch, but also understanding that this present moment, like us being here together, everything that we said was for this moment, you know? I'm glad it was recorded, but it also wasn't for the intention of being shared that way, and I think that makes it all the more special. But thank you for this award. Thank you, Indya. Thank you, Eco Age.